And welcome back. The housing market is about ready to flip because average daily rates for mortgage rates just surged to 7.1% on May 25th. The highest rates we've seen going back to early November last year, as I stated in previous videos. On top of that, housing inventory, this is based on would-be home buyers' average monthly housing payments, that actually just increased to an all-time record high according to a report from Redfin as well as the MBA. Average monthly housing payments reached a new all-time record high. On top of that, prices have increased by about 10% ever since February this year. In today's housing market update, I'm going to touch on that, but also this latest weekly update from Redfin just announced on May 25th here. I have a lot to share. Let's go ahead and dive right in. I don't want to waste your time here. So it says here, average daily rates on May 25th increased to 7.12% according to the Mortgage News Daily. That's the highest level since early November last year. Get this though, because it says the home buyer's monthly mortgage payment, that's based on asking prices for houses for sale, but also based on weekly rates. They're using a weekly rate of 6.57%. And based on that rate, it's an all-time record high. However, though, when looking at daily rates at about 55 basis points higher, this would look actually a lot worse. And so far, buyers are responding here because we're seeing a lack of contracts being signed between buyers and sellers overall on a national level. Of course, every housing market's different, right? But on a national level, pending home sales decreased by 17.4% from 1 year earlier for the 4 weeks ended May 21st, the second biggest decrease since January this year on a year-over-year basis here. We're also seeing potential sellers also back out of this market as well. We're not seeing enough new listings because new listings decreased by 24% year over year, one of the biggest declines since May of 2020. And by the way, these numbers here are likely to look a lot worse in the weeks and months ahead if rates stay around 7% or higher than that. If they actually dip below, let's just say 6%, for example, I would imagine that home buying demand may increase. But given the fact that rates are at nearly a 7-month high right now, which is absolutely insane, especially given the fact that we have a lack of housing affordability based on this report from Redfin, as well as the MBA here, stating here that for all applications for home loans right now, the median mortgage payment just increased to $2,112, an all-time record high going back to at least January of 2015. Let's get back to Redfin's report here though. This report covers the 4 weeks ended May 21st this year. So let's first talk about home prices and the median home sold price of $375,750, down 2.2% year over year, the smallest decrease in nearly 2 months. Prices are up by about 8% to start the year, a typical seasonal increase. Also, based on my own calculation, prices have increased by about 10% ever since February this year. Again, entirely normal to see increases in prices in the spring home buying season. But this right here is not normal. So in black right here is 2022. And of course, in blue right here is this year. So a decrease of 2% compared to last year. Last year, this time, the median sold price was $384,000. Now it's $376,000. And this is quite remarkable to see this increase in prices that we've been seeing this year, especially compared to the past month or so, because rates are so much higher today compared to 1 year ago. But despite that, we're seeing this giant increase in prices so far this year. And that's probably likely due to the fact that we have historically low inventory levels. So let's talk more about the metros in which prices have decreased the most and also the areas in which prices have increased the most. So Redfin reports here that home prices have decreased in 29 of the 50 most populous metros. So approximately 58% of the 50 most populous metros are down on a year-over-year basis. In fact, the biggest decrease was Austin, Texas, down by 18.3%. Oakland, California saw a decrease of 15.9%. Las Vegas decreased by 10.4%. San Francisco decreased by 10.3%. And Sacramento, California saw a decrease of 8.8%. And by the way, I posted a video regarding the California housing market. I tend to make 3 videos per month. And based on my own analysis of San Francisco, prices are down compared to 1 year ago, 2 years ago, as well as 3 years ago. It's absolutely insane. We're looking at prices from April 2020 through April 2023. Prices, or the median sold price in San Francisco, is actually down. Absolutely insane. All the gains we saw in 2021, 2022 have been wiped out due to the fact that prices have decreased so much in the second half of 2022 and also for the part of this year as well. Just absolutely insane. I have a playlist if you guys are interested about the California housing market updates. I have a playlist on my YouTube channel, and please go check that out if you haven't seen those videos. All right, let's talk about the areas in which home prices increased the most. Cincinnati, Ohio saw a gain of 8.5%. Milwaukee, Wisconsin saw an increase of 8.1%. Fort Lauderdale, Florida saw a gain of 6.8%. Newark, New Jersey increased by 6.7%. And Columbus, Ohio saw a gain of 4.8% year over year. Meanwhile, asking prices are at just under $399,000, a decrease of 2% year over year. And like I mentioned earlier, the monthly mortgage payment on the median asking price home hit a new all-time record high of $2,614 at the current weekly rate of 6.57%. That's, of course, according to the Freddie Mac. Freddie Mac reports weekly numbers regarding average rates on a weekly basis here. But again, if we're looking at daily rates at 7%, this number right here would look a lot worse. Up by 13% year over year, an increase of $265 more per month to buy a same price home today compared to 1 year ago. I should say the median asking price home today compared to the asking price 1 year ago. A gain of $265 more per month. And here's a chart showing average monthly housing payments right now. Again, a gain of 13% year over year, $2,614 right now. What really stands out to me the most here is the difference between this year compared to 2020. At this time, your average monthly housing payment was approximately $1,400 per month. Now it's $2,614, a gain of around $1,200 more to buy a median price home today compared to 2020 at this time. And that's a giant increase of 86%, which is absolutely insane, which is not sustainable to say the least. Okay, let's talk about pending home sales as well as new listings as well. Of course, a pending home sale is when a home seller accepts an offer from a home buyer, and this is based on existing houses only. This whole report is also based on the resale market as well, or existing houses. So pending home sales decreased by 17.4% year over year. Again, the second biggest decrease since January this year. The biggest decrease was a 17.5% decrease in April last year. The biggest decrease this year was a 17.5% dip that we saw in early April this year. Also, this is a similar trend as well. Every single one of the 50 most populous metros that Redfin analyzed here saw a decrease of pending home sales year over year. They actually decreased the most in Seattle. They saw a decrease of 33.1% year over year. San Diego saw a decrease of 32.4%. Portland, Oregon decreased by 30.5%. Sacramento, California declined by 30.3%, as well as Milwaukee, Wisconsin as well. New listings decreased again of every single one of the metros they track here and fell by 24.1% year over year, one of the biggest decreases since May 2020. What happened in May 2020? We had COVID lockdowns. A lot of people who listed their houses for sale decided to take their houses off the market. And of course, we had a lack of new people listing their houses for sale in May. So this is pretty astonishing that we have the year-over-year decrease of 24.1% is one of the biggest decreases we had when we had COVID lockdowns across much of the United States. It just really goes to show how we have this lack of demand, but also a lack of new supply hitting the market as well. A big, big problem. New listings decreased in every single one of the metros they track here. They fell in Seattle the most, down by 41.7% year over year. Also in second place here was Las Vegas. They saw a decrease of 41.5. That was followed by San Diego, Oakland, and Anaheim, California. So let's have a look at the number of pending home sales compared to years past. So we have approximately 90,000 pending home sales over the previous 4 weeks. Going back to last year this time, there's around 109,000. So we have approximately 19,000 fewer pending home sales compared to 2022. Also compared to 2021, it's a big, big difference there because back then we had approximately 120,000 or just under 120,000, a difference around 30,000 fewer pending home sales this year. In regards to new listings, take a look at this. New listings decreased by 24.1%, approximately 92,000 new listings that hit the market over the previous 4 weeks. But looking back at this time in 2022, there's approximately 121,000. This means we're missing approximately 30,000 fewer new listings over the previous 4 weeks. And this, of course, is one of the main reasons why we're seeing historically low inventory levels in the US right now. Also, according to Redfin, the month supply right now is at 2.6 months. Back in early February, the month supply was around 4.5 months. So we're seeing this seasonal decrease in the month supply right now. But right now, it's still much higher compared to 2022, as well as 2021, when the month supply was around 2 months. But this is also still well below 2020 this time, when the month supply was around 4.1 months. Now here's a new trend that's kind of occurring as well regarding the percentage of pending home sales in which the home buyer, home seller, accepted an offer within the first 2 weeks of the home being listed for sale. So you list your house for sale, within 2 weeks, approximately 35% of those accepted an offer. That was absolutely skyrocketing ever since really February this year, as you can see right here. But right here, look at that. The first decrease or the first significant decrease we've seen in quite some time here, actually all year, in fact. So this number here was going up. It was actually getting very close to 2021 and 2022. But this is going to be interesting to follow here. If this number starts to decrease big time, that's going to give us a signal that home buying demand is decreasing even further here. Now, having said that, we're not too much far off last year's levels though, because 1 year ago, the percentage of pending home sales that went under contract with the buyer within the first 2 weeks was around 40%. Now it's about 35%. Okay, let's talk about how fast or how slow houses are selling right now. Because the median days in the market is at 30 days right now. This is higher compared to 2021 as well as 2022. At this time, back in 2022, it was around 18 days. Now it's 30 days. Therefore, it's taking approximately 12 days longer to sell a home compared to 2022. Let's also talk about this right here. This is the percentage of houses that sold above the seller's asking price. So approximately 34% of the time over the previous 4-week rolling average here, houses sold above the seller's final asking price. This, of course, is much lower than last year's levels when the percentage was around 55%. Another way to look at this for this year is that this means approximately 66% of the houses that sold at or below the seller's final list price. And speaking of houses selling below the seller's final list price, the average sale price to final list price ratio is very, very close to 100%. To be exact, 99.6%. So meaning on average, houses sold for about 0.4% below the seller's final list price. Compare this to the peak, which was last year this time. Houses on average were selling for about 102.5% over the seller's asking price. So I should say 2.5% over the seller's final list price. And now they're selling for about 0.4% below asking. And with that said, my biggest takeaway from today's video is that we have this lack of housing affordability once again, just like we saw in 2022. All-time record highs for average monthly housing payments, according to Redfin, as well as the MBA just posted today. That's based on lower rates than we're seeing today. They were looking at rates on a weekly average last week. So I would imagine that our housing market is going to get a lot uglier in the weeks and months ahead, given the fact that we're at all-time record lows for housing affordability. We have average mortgage rates at the highest level since early November. And if that stays at these very high levels, it's actually going to get a lot uglier, I would imagine, in the weeks and months ahead. What do I know? I'm not a real estate market fortune teller, and time will tell, and I'll definitely keep you posted with the latest developments. But what's your biggest takeaways? Please leave a comment below. I appreciate you. Have an awesome day, and look forward to seeing you on the next video.